Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody, on this Wednesday night edition of Coach Trips Tips. You know, in this show, we always talk about how to be a great coach, who are the great coaches, all the characteristics, styles, and philosophies of great coaches. But there are bad coaches out there, so we have to be aware of those as well. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Transactional coaches, they're called. Brought to you by Pensacola Glass, the clear choice for all your glass needs. This week's Coach Trips Tips is about Joe Ehrmann's book, Inside Out Coaching. It's a must-read if you know anybody that plays sports. Today, we're going to explore a few topics about transactional coaches. First, I'll explain what a transactional coach is, and then I'll talk about the 5 types of transactional coaches. Transactional coaches are the opposite of transformational coaches. Transactional coaches can be tyrants, demeaning and degrading to players, a coach who hollers all the time and is intimidating and fearful. We've all had them at one time or another if we played sports long enough. A transactional coach is the kind who uses players as tools to meet their personal needs for validation, status, and identity, as opposed to transformational coaches who are other-centered. These transactional coaches are self-centered, a quid pro quo. I give you something and get something in return, a cold transaction. Now, I want to reiterate how powerful the book Inside Out Coaching is. Parade magazine once called Joe Ehrmann the most important coach in America. He played football and lacrosse at Syracuse University. He was a first-round draft choice of the Baltimore Colts and played 12 years in the NFL. His football coach at Syracuse University was a typical transactional coach, and his lacrosse coach was the opposite, a classic transformational coach. I duly note that the football team at Syracuse at that time was not very good, but the lacrosse teams under Coach Roy Simmons won numerous national championships. Let's explore Joe Ehrmann's 5 types of transactional coaches. They are: number 1, the dictators; number 2, the bullies; number 3, the narcissists; number 4, the saints; and number 5, the misfits. I call it a win-at-all-cost mentality. The dictator coach does it his way without input or suggestion from his assistants and players, feedback, or even any meaningful open communication with any of them. I've seen this. I've seen a few of those in my time. Combine that with the number 2 on the list, the bully coach. Coach Bully roars at his players and associates to keep them at a distance. The bully coach's repertoire includes shouting, cursing, personal denigration, and humility. Very difficult to approach or feel connected. Folks, it's not just coaches. I've had bosses that were very much like this. Coach Bully has an incomprehensible need to dominate his players and sometimes emotionally and verbally abuse their athletes. Sometimes these coaches don't realize what they're doing. Most do not realize it with the kind of damage that is being done, and does not necessarily make them bad people. In order to become a transformational coach, the first thing you have to do is examine yourself. Why do you coach? How do you coach? What does it feel like to be coached by you? And how do you measure and define success? I can tell what kind of coach you are by talking to your former players. Hence the name of Joe Ehrmann's book, Inside Out Coaching. You must start with yourself, self-examination. Joe started out with transactional tendencies, and so did I. We all slip up once in a while. I was a much better coach in my last year than I was when I started 20 years ago. My high school coach, George O'Leary, he could be transactional at times, but he also was very transformational with our high school team. My college coach, Coach Bryant, could be as tough as nails and transformational in the same day. I don't remember all the grueling workouts as much as the transformational meetings that I had with both of them. The conversations we had literally transformed my life and my career. Coach Ehrmann explains something interesting in his book about how bullying is manifested by coaches. Coach Ehrmann talks about himself as a young coach. Quote, when a player or parent triggered the part of me that had been bullied in the past, the bully in me would rise up in rage as a bully coach. As part of my inside out work, I am forever mindful of this impulse and happy to say that it rarely happens now. Now, it takes courage to not only admit that these transactional moments occur, but to commit to self assessment and contemplation. Number 3 on our types of transactional coaches is coach narcissist. This is the type of coach who thinks all about himself. He's the life of the party, the coach who craves center stage. He's the one who gloats on the sidelines as the clock ticks down. He's proud of himself, not of his players. He also lacks empathy for others. This type of coach is more rare, but much more dangerous because he lacks the ability to self-critique and do the inside-out work. He's unwilling to do the hard part, to ask himself the hard questions. Number 4 is called the saint. This one who has something to do with a messiah complex. Coach Saint is someone who is so devoted to a cause that he completely forsakes and sacrifices something important to him, like his family. This happens a lot in professional sports. Former Dallas Cowboy coach Jimmy Johnson comes to mind. He has admitted that working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week has left little time for his wife and kids. The last type of transactional coach is called the misfit. Coach Misfit usually shows up in youth recreational leagues. These are leagues that are dependent on volunteers. Usually there is very little screening and training done. Their lack of knowledge of players' developmental needs can stunt a young player's enjoyment. Coach Misfit needs his players' acceptance and obedience. He wants to feel important since he gets the title of coach. He's a coach that is all image and no substance. He can be well-intentioned and charming, or he can be completely awkward and clueless. Either way, his goals and behaviors are destructive to your young athlete. To sum up, transactional coaches, they lead through negotiation, inducement, manipulation, and threats to achieve a desired productivity and effectiveness. When players perform well, they're rewarded. When they don't perform well, some kind of punishment is inflicted, be it yelling, withholding praise, playing time, or participation. In contrast, a transformational coach realized the power of coaching platform to inspire, motivate, and produce positive change in their players. He or she is acutely mindful of the moral, social, emotional, and psychological needs of young people. Transformational coaches offer individual support and encouragement to each player and have a clear vision for the desired impact on their players' lives. And it allows them to encourage their players to simply have fun and play. I'll never forget what a player said about me in a letter he wrote to me after he graduated. He said, quote, "It was always comforting to hear amongst the anxiety of a pregame, Coach Tripp always telling us, I want you to know one thing, just to have fun." Now it's time for Bible Verse of the Week, brought to you by the Seiler Agency. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5, quote, "Examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves," unquote. You know, I read an article on Doug Baldwin here from Gulf Breeze, Florida here, one of our own, in Sports Illustrated about 7-8 years ago. What he did to emerge as an elite player was to undergo a personal growth and reflection of his mistakes. He said, quote, "Self-awareness was my engine," unquote. Wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you can recognize these kind of transactional coaches and speak up because we need to get them out of our youth leagues and everywhere. But we always talk about great coaches, but now you know what some of the bad coaches out there are all about. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget, Saturday's show, we are going to have Mike White on, former Bama offensive lineman, former Navy SEAL, and also the head of security for the boss, Bruce Springsteen. That's right, quite an interview. You don't want to miss that coming up Saturday. Have a great sports night, everybody. Talk to you soon.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time. Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Hey, Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
So hard to get you in the perfect car. Looking for a better car buying experience? With the Step 1 Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step 1 supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step 1 Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.